Hello, internet friends. My name is Bay, and welcome to the Battle for Azeroth beta, and the second pass for the Protection Paladin. Overall, I'm going to be going over a lot of things in this video, but a lot of the back end is that Protection Paladin still is Protection Paladin, and tank videos are a little weird. But talent adjustments, spells, abilities lost or gained, what has been kept from Legion artifacts and or legendaries. Any new graphics, a brief overview of the war mode talent system, and any GCD changes. There will be no true gameplay in this series, although I will go get smacked on by the tanking target dummy and see how long I can live. And if you want to see the entire second pass testing VOD, it's located over on my Twitch channel, linked down below in the video description. And below that, of course, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, feedback, toss that in the comment section. That's what it's there for. And of course, if you enjoy my ramblings and want to keep up to date on whenever I'm making new rambly videos and live shows in the future, then consider subscribing to the YouTube channel right here. Maybe even hitting that bell icon next to subscribe, because that's the real thing now. I let you know when new videos go up. But Protection Paladin, biggest change right off the bat is what I'm doing right here. Comment section, you're just hitting consecrate. Notice the duration, however. So here is the rub. Your mastery now is Divine Bulwark. Why my bag's open? It reduces all damage you take while standing inside your consecration by a flat amount. That is the only active use. Standing in your consecration, you get the consecrate buff, take less damage from all sources. This is magic and physical. You also gain an additional flat chance to block, and of course the attack power bonus that all tanks get. The block is not tied to standing in your consecration. The block is always. And of course the attack power is always. But the big thing here, and we talk about this a lot on the live stream, is that this is kind of just like activated versatility, which is not bad, but there's going to probably be a weird secondary stat battle for arms between the Protection Paladin with its new mastery, which is fine. It's just that you want to have mastery, or you're going to want to have verse, or you're going to want to have both after obviously a certain amount of haste. That's just for the way the spec feels. But that may or may not be a cannibalistic nature, because one may be more powerful than the other, so Blizzard has to be careful with this. This is obviously overall a much better, more, I guess, tangible mastery than the madness you have on live right now. Any prop paladins watching right now, if you're in the SOTR window, you're like, I'm invincible. SOTR drops, you're moving your finger to hit your button, you die. Right? It's just, there's too much power in the way that Shield of the Righteous works on live compared to this version, and that's very, very much changed with this change. So that also impacts me talent off of Holy Shield here real quick. Don't worry about that. That also changes a lot of how the block mechanic works now. So block and armor are a pretty big change to the two block tanks. And of course, I'll go back over this when we do the Prot Warrior video in a number of weeks from now. So block now adds physical armor, adds armor against physical damage when you block. It doesn't take off a flat percentage anymore. It just adds armor to that hit. And of course, the amount of armor that is added to that block is determined by your strength. And this whole thing right there, so that gray text against an evenly matched enemy, I actually turned off Deja character stats to record this video because it was a little bit strange. The Deja character stats talent panel wasn't, or stat panel wasn't working properly with the update. The armor stat in the game now shows things against evenly matched, but there is sort of an eye-level scaling component that tanks are going to have to learn about, read about in guides, look at in different spreadsheets I'm sure that the communities will put together or have weak auras for. Because this is against the same level enemy, right? I'm attacking this enemy right here, right? Same armor. You see the tooltip pops up there. But if I target, obviously this boss is level 123, your armor goes way down. Or if I target this guy who's 112, just +2 above me, it goes down by a little bit. And that does affect. This tooltip doesn't update properly, which is why I talk about the weak auras or graphs or charts that someone's going to make, I'm sure. because the block adds armor, but that armor has diminished effects against higher level targets, which in a end-game scenario, elites in dungeons are +2 levels above you, and then bosses are +3, unless that's changed somewhere in the hierarchy of how Blizzard has made their game, which of course we'll find out more as the expansion gets closer and closer. That's just where you'll see that having eye level, having armor, having overall strength, which is what contributes to armor bonuses, at least in the block sense, is going to always be good for a tank, bar none. Because obviously smoothing out all your incoming physical damage is going to be a huge part of this way you play. And that's fine. I'm sure, again, there'll be weak auras or something that'll come out to make this a little more easily understandable, because right now it's kind of strange. You're not going to always hover over your character paper doll here, right? But that's a big one. So that's fine, just kind of weird. Compared to how the game is now. Block just takes off a flat chunk of the damage after armor. So base armor, of course, is going to matter more, but they want all the tanks to care more about armor. And again, armor is this block amount. To go to my notes here real quick. Yeah, so it's strength determines armor, at least from additional blocking. That's why my actual armor is only 947. You see this here? Like my armor on my actual gear. But my armor that adds to the block is higher. Because again, there's a strength factor in there. That goes on top of the next part of the Prot Paladin, which is Shield of the Righteous, which has been changed as a 20-second recharge now, up from 16, of course, still reduced by haste. It can be used whenever you want, though. Whenever you want, you can use it. And now it also cleaves everything in front of you, which is a nice quality of life change, of course. But what also is there, still 3 charges, does holy damage, but it increases your armor by an amount. This amount is 150% of your strength, as at least currently right now in this current beta build. So again, eye level, getting more strength, getting higher eye level gear gives you more base armor, more strength gives you more armor from block and armor from Shield of the Righteous. All sort of smooshes together, right? Of course, the duration only stacks up to 3 casts. That was a thing that was done in Legion, where any active mitigation any tank has, it will only ever go to 3 times its actual duration. You can't get it higher than that. So in this case, you'll only ever... I can't do it with only 3 stacks, but you only get 15 seconds of duration out of SOTR if you spam it multiple times in a row. That's the same. But again, gives you a crap ton of armor overall. Of course, that'll fade off, and there it goes. So the difference there for physical damage is going to be there in any tank with like block or Shield of the Righteous with the 2 shield tanks. But I don't think you're going to just get globaled outside of that window, because you can only actually have so much SOTR uptime. That's why your mastery comes into play by giving you that flat back-end overall damage reduction all the time. They go hand in hand. Obviously, SOTR for big hits. Keep that Consecrate down. Consecration has a 6-second cooldown, but it lasts for 12 seconds. So you can always put down Consecrate when you move. You'll have that 6-second window, or I mean, obviously less because of haste scaling, to always put down Consecrate in the rotation. And you'll probably just be refreshing Consecrate a lot more often just randomly in the rotation, just because that's just how the rotation is going to feel. You'll always have that up. And of course, it does render pretty close to the spell graphic. It's a little bit off, right? It's like a yard or a meter off or whatever. Just like right there. That's not a big deal. You're going to be standing in it regardless. One big thing about Consecration that's kind of weird is that even people in your party don't see your Consecration now, which may be a squelch error, because people should want to see where your Consecration is, because they're either for your positioning for your healer to know, or there's the passive you're seeing right now, the Consecrated Ground, which is the healing in the Consecration. But it's kind of like meh healing anyway. Maybe it doesn't matter. All right. The other big change here, which people may or may not enjoy, is Light of the Protector. Now, the overall baseline functionality of Light of Protector is good. So the heal is spell power based now. So it's eye level, strength, mastery to AP, all that, right? It's all spell power based, and spell power is determined from your attack power. So again, strength and eye level and mastery. This no longer has the healing based on missing health on the target, so this heal can actually crit. But it does go up in healing power based off of up to 200% based on your missing health. There's the crit right there. The problem there, though, is that I don't think it's a big problem because it's how the game is changing overall. It's on the global cooldown. It also had its cooldown increased to 20 seconds. Obviously, Light of the Protector is only the Paladin themselves. Hand of the Protector is anyone. It does have a 5-second reduced cooldown. Same exact healing component, though. Same heal amount. Same, your health is lower, it'll heal for more. The while setting your consecration is not true. That's probably a relic of the old tooltip and probably be removed in a future build because it doesn't do that at all. So it's either NYI or just a relic. So by default, it's just a cooldown reduction on Hand of the Protector and use it on someone else. But again, still on the global cooldown. And this has come up a lot as a bit of an issue. But if you go hit a target dummy, I mean, bosses are going to do roughly the same damage. This guy's just a boss dummy, right? The thing that's about WoW in BFA is that you're going to see a lot less moments where you're going to about to die. The damage scaling in the game should be a little bit slower. Now, obviously, a tank is only going to keep themselves alive by themselves for so long. That's just how it's going to be. You're going to need to have a healer heal you so they can get big. Oh, it didn't crit. Damn. A healer is going to have to heal you, or you will, of course, die to anything, right? That's just how it's going to be. But people are used to the very, very twitchy motion in Legion right now, where you're hitting your defensives, you're hitting your rotation, and you're hitting your heals all the time at the same time, basically. And that's not how BFA is going to be. You're going to be weaving your abilities and choosing a global each time based on the situation that presents itself in front of you. All right. Although the back-end stuff is still here for the Prot Paladin, of course, Heart of the Crusader is still the movement speed while mounted. Grand Crusaders, whenever you avoid a melee attack, that means dodging or parrying, or using Hammer of the Righteous, or, of course, Blessed Hammer. You have a 25% chance to reset the remaining cooldown of Avengers Shield, and this brings up the other new mini-game for the Prot Paladin. So, you have interactions on live right now. You have a artifact trait called Blessed Stalwart, which is when you judge, you'll buff your next SOTR. They have moved that over to Avengers Shield. So again, that's why I brought up the Grand Crusader hook here. So Avengers Shield still does the same thing it does right now. Bounces the target, silences the PvE ones, right? Jumps to 3 additional nearby enemies. However, it increases the effectiveness of your next Shield of the Righteous by 20%. I also have the new talent, and I'll jump ahead to this because I might as well show this off at the same time. Redoubt is one of your new talents. Avengers Shield will bounce to 1 additional target and increase your block by 75% for 8 seconds. So now these couple together. So Avengers Shield buffs your next Shield of the Righteous by 20%. So that just gives it more armor. So even more armor is going to be stacked on in that window. It also increases your overall, because of Redoubt, your block value by 75%. So that's going to also impact just physical damage, of course, obviously, in this case. But that is going to work differently, of course, with having high crit, maybe, because that gives you parry, or just having the innate chance to dodge and parry depending on your gear to avoid for Grand Crusader, or, of course, spamming Blessed Hammers or Hammer of the Righteous. Because keeping up Redoubt and weaving the Avengers Shield bonus is going to be part of the minigame. If you, of course, spec Redoubt, but overall, Avengers Shield. This, however, is a bit of an issue or a gameplay change. Obviously, Avengers Shield is off the GCD you're seeing, of course. Has its own little global. If you Avengers Shield and then put up a increased Shield of the Righteous, but then clip it, it will reset to the new, not buffed value. So that's why putting a lot of Avengers Shields inside of each other's window is not really going to be a huge deal. You're going to want to weave them when you know you're taking a lot of damage. at least inside sort of this Avengers Shield window. Now that, of course, combined with Redoubt, you're going to want to spam Redoubt whenever you get procs, basically. But I'm maybe a little used to the fact that on Prot Warrior, I'm just kind of hitting block and ignore pain just intermittently between my cooldowns. Avengers Shield will always have to go before an SOTR to make sure you're within that extra window there. And that is really all of the huge baseline changes to the Prot Paladin. Your little mini game here, the way the Grand Crusader will work, and of course how that will impact your talents, your new Redoubt talent, if you're going to pick that, of course, if you'd like to. The only other baseline update is going to be Divine Steed has a minute-long cooldown, up from 45 seconds, which is And Blessing of Freedom no longer has the immunity to forced movement effects. They get this in an earlier build, but they have removed it and lowered the cooldown back to 25 seconds from 45 seconds. So you can still be gripped and pushed and pulled in the Blessing of Freedom. So maybe it was too powerful or too long of a cooldown, so they reverted that change. And Blessing of Sacrifice had its wording updated. So it still reduces the damage of the target you Blessing of Sacrifice by 30%, but you will suffer 100% of the damage prevented. This is a wording update. Same functionality. You can, of course, bubble the damage. You can bop the physical damage, or you can spell ward the magic damage being transferred. Otherwise, you cannot DR, damage reduce, any of the damage coming to you from that 30% transfer. But if you look on the live tooltip, they did sort of clean this one up, which is helpful. But everything else is still there. Another baseline tweak across the board for Paladin, which of course I'll go into more on Ret and Holy, is Avenging Wrath. Avenging Wrath now is 20% damage, healing, and critical strike chance for 20 seconds. So this gives you crit synergy with Judgment. Judgment has the 2-second reduced cooldown on your SOTR, or 4 seconds if Judgment crits. So having Avenging Wrath have that hook as well, and because Light of the Protector can also crit, you have a little bit more crit synergy there during your major cooldown. The version online is just a 35% damage and healing amp, but now reducing the damage and healing by a little bit, but then the crit synergy at least has those extra moments of power and the additional benefit therein. But everything else is the same. Nothing's been changed. Guardian of Ancient King still looks like crap. The glyph is still in the game, which looks awesome, but hopefully they update this because it looks really awkward compared to other graphics in the game right now. Everything else is the same, but those overall baseline tweaks are quite there. No more standing in your consecration for any of the extra benefits. You still stand in your consecrate to make Hammer of the Righteous cleave. That's the only benefit of standing in it besides obviously your mastery, but there's no like Light of the Protector gets stronger or your SOTR gets stronger. That's not a thing anymore. And overall, not a whole lot to go over with your talents. I brought up Redoubt already. You can follow along on your talent calculator on WoWDB or wherever you'd like. Everything else is the same, except you have Unbreakable Spirit now over Knight Templar. This is the 30% reduced cooldown on Divine Shield, Ardent Defender, and Lay on Hands. And this competes, of course, with Bubble Taunt, which is quite strong in situations. And, of course, Hand of the Protector, which is usually a set and forget, but do you need more personal cooldowns, or do you need a little bit more healing on someone else other than yourself, or do you need more spell damage avoidance, so you can obviously take a huge spell damage hit, Hand of the Protector yourself in response? But everything else is the same. Judgment of Light got a little bit of a nerf. It's down to 25 charges, down from the bigger 40 on live earlier. Blessed Hammer is still the exact same. We're going to grab Blessed Hammer real quick. Holy Shield still gives you block chance and can block spells. Now, the blocking of spells, however, I'm not sure how that math is going to work because block is physical. So in the comments down below, if the Paladin community, the tanking community has figured out how Holy Shield blocks spells, let me know and I can like pin or love that comment so it might pop up in the, we can upload it. Because I don't know how that works, because you block damage reduction with armor, but how do you block a spell? Is it still a 30-35% reduction in that blocked spell? Let me know in the comments down below. First Avenger, Crusaders Judgment now is going to be interestingly evenly more powerful because it's going to be give you a ton of CDR for SOTR in the Avenging Wrath window because of the increased crit chance. Bastion of Light still very much there, having Seraphim potential. Seraphim is definitely still there. 249 of your secondary stat. That's going to scale with your level, I believe. Aegis of Light, Blessing of Spell Warding, Cavalier are on the same tier, which is just still a weird tier because Retribution Aura is still here. I mean, Redoubt's Bouncy Shield plus Retribution Aura is definitely a lot of extra AoE damage, but what is this doing here still? Does anyone know? It's just so weak and passive and lame and boring, and Cavalier is going to be way stronger now because of the cooldown nerf, and then Blessing of Spell Warding, which replaces Bop, is going to be strong in fights where you need the Spell Warding versus Bop, so I don't know. Last Defender may or may not be a stronger choice now because of how your mastery works, so just having more flat damage reduction all the time is going to look nice. But Righteous Protector, same thing here. Shield of the Righteous reduces the remaining cooldown of Light of the Protector and Avenging Wrath by 3 seconds. So again, Crusaders Judgment to stack with the CDR to get more SOTRs, and more SOTRs gives you more Light of the Protector uptime and more Avenging Wrath, which gives you more Crusaders Judgment. All this stuff feeds together, right? And then, of course, there's Seraphim again. But, like, I'll whack on this dummy for a little bit, and you can sort of see how long you can sort of live as a Prot Paladin. You know, we'll just toss up. Let's see. Let's do that. Ooh, huge crit heal there. Very nice. Again, always put your Avengers Shield before your SOTR window. And we'll pop a little cooldown there. I'm not going to use Seraphim right now just because whatever. And again, we're going to get that big heal. Obviously, the target dummy does more and more damage over time here. 2 procs back to back. I think I'm going to die. Yeah. But hey, that wasn't too bad. How much combat was that? By myself, rather. How much combat was that? Where's the timing? Oh, I gotta click on this little report thing up here. So that was... I had 43 seconds of living by myself against a boss dummy, basically. Not too bad. But again, I think like 40% of survivability now against targets in boss combat now, at least in dungeon style stuff. It's gonna be like on the actual tanks to handle, and then the other 60% is probably gonna be on the healer to handle, which makes sense. So those of you that are out there that PvP as a tank, which may or may not be a thing, I don't know if it's a thing or not. War mode, real quick. War mode is activated in your major capital cities, right? So Stormwind or Orgrimmar. You will gain additional honor from killing enemies of the opposite faction. And if you go on a 10 kill streak, which may be easier for a tank, you will gain 15% more damage and healing until you die. You become an assassin. You gain even more bonus honor for killing an enemy assassin. They get bounties on their head. They show up on the world map in the zones, I believe. You gain 15% more XP for killing monsters and completing quests, and more rewards for completing world quests at max level. And you get to choose any of these talents and put them together. So you pick your medallion talent, basically. And then you can choose any of these. Any of the ones that competed, or the ones that you couldn't take because they weren't that good, but they may be good if you can combine them with other different... Put whatever you want. You pick 3 of them. So Hallowed Ground, Consecration clears and suppresses all snare effects on allies within the area of effect. It's a little bit of a combined thing with, you know, maybe Consecrated Ground there. Seed of Glory. Divine Steed lasts longer, and when active, you become immune to movement impairing effects and knock back enemies that you move through. Sacred Duty reduces the cooldown of Bop and Sack by 33%. Judgment of the Pure, when you judgment upon an enemy, a nearby ally within 40 yards is healed. Crusaders Judgment, that kind of thing. Guardian of the Forgotten Queen. This empowers a friendly target with the spirit of the Forgotten Queen, causing the target to be immune to all damage for 10 seconds. This replaces your personal cooldown to give it to someone else. Guarded by the Light. Your Flash of Light reduces all damage the target receives by 10% for 6 seconds, 2 stacks. Inquisition replaces your taunt. This is the... All tanks have this ability. It's the offensive taunt that increases the damage the target takes for 6 seconds, reduces the damage that they... and increases the damage that they'll take by 3% more, up to 5 stacks if other people are attacking that target, and then your attacks refresh the intimidated duration. So Warrior of Light Also replaces Hand of Reckoning as well. Both replace Taunt. Well, no, go down here. This replaces Taunt. Warrior of Light increases the damage done by your Shield of the Righteous by 30%, reduces the armor granted by 30%, so DPS-oriented thing. Shield of Virtue, 45-second cooldown. When activated, your next Avengers Shield will interrupt and silence all enemies within 8 yards of the target. Cleansing Light replaces Cleanse Toxins, cleanses allies within 15 yards, moving all poison disease effects. Obviously, a lot of the tank stuff is going to be very defensive-oriented. That's just sort of how tanks PvP. Holy Ritual. So our allies are healed for an amount when you cast a blessing on them and healed again when the blessing ends. Luminescence is when you are healed by an ally. All nearby allies within 20 yards are also healed for 20% of the amount. That's like the bounce AoE heal thing. And Unbound Freedom, Blessing of Freedom also increases the movement speed of the target by 30%. So you can go like a super defensive, or I guess I don't want to click on that. My mouse is still being weird. Go like a super defensive build and just be a complete butthead. Stand on points, capture points, protect people. I don't know. PvP in WoW on a tank, I'm not sure how it is. I used to PvP a lot as a tank in Star Wars: The Old Republic for a long, long time. Brought that up on stream during this stream, actually, I believe. And it was a lot of fun. I don't know how tank PvP is, but you can pick and choose and make whatever build you like. And of course, these are active anywhere in the open world for world questing as well. So having a more of a DPS-focused world questing build could help you just world quest as a tank at endgame. But that's the war mode. That is the Protection Paladin. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of the Prot Paladin overall baseline fundamental changes to your little mini games, your cooldowns, your Lighted Protector on the GCD, and that kind of stuff. If you've been tanking a lot on the beta, let me know how it feels. But if you enjoyed this video, of course, consider subscribing to the YouTube channel right here. Maybe you hit that bell icon to be notified when new videos go live. Or if you are looking for a beta key by chance to test yourself, I am doing a huge big giveaway right now on my Facebook page. You can go over there and like or follow whatever the hell you do on Facebook, and then check out the rules and enter in to that giveaway. We're sort of rolling out beta keys on the Facebook giveaway like for the next week or so, I guess. So go check that out if you'd like. Of course, I'm also doing giveaways on my Twitter and probably in my Discord soon too. So go check those out. And if you use Facebook, I also post, of course, when the shows go live or when the YouTube videos come out, so you can be up to date there also. But that's it. That's Prot Paladin. Thank you very much for listening to my ramblings. And I will see you all in the next BFA Beta Second Pass video.